Hello, welcome back to Scum and Villainy, the beardless edition, or the one less beard edition at least. Um, and yeah, we're the meeting is about to happen, but also us all getting caught by Legion 51 is about to happen. So let's see what we do about that.
Cool. So, because we talked about the never-ending story before, the childlike empress, is obviously on deck with a slightly awkward feeling Dipper and Scion. Sean, I think we're gonna flash back to you real quick,
Yeah.
because during break I made some handy dandy rolls in
Nice.
the Scum and Villainy book, and they came up very funny. But I am like, sometimes you roll and you're like, I wonder what the job would look like with that. But like with this one, it came up in a way that I was like, I know what it is immediately. And so I think what Rowan says is, well, we have some information, and it's the kind of thing that would be a job that we would do more research on. Unfortunately, I don't have full background checks. I don't have paperwork. I don't have anything else. But right now we're a little short on time, and I think that your crew can probably make do with what I need you to do. And
We're pretty good at making do.
Yeah, so she hands over a very familiar looking, like, little black kind of like data insert thing that we've seen before, which I'm going to remind people of here in a second. But I think that if you were to like plug it into a data terminal, as a matter of fact, there's a handy dandy data terminal just a little bit further down the repair sector.
Yeah.
And it'll bring up, so IOTA actually has shipyards. The Starsmiths Guild does shipbuilding and repairs. It's got like, it even does like prototype ship development. And part of the reason it does that is because these asteroid belts are so rich in materials that it's plenty of stuff to build ships from.
Nice.
So yeah, what she says is, so there is actually a ship that was being built there, and there is a few scientists that were working on the project that, for reasons that are not entirely clear, have been sacked. She says that the Legion basically covered up a lot of the paper trail, but what she says, it seems like the scientists were looking into some pretty dangerous tech that may or may not be illegal, and the Starsmiths Guild didn't want to get like flagged and or caught and lose their hegemonic seal of control over spaceships or whatever. But she says that these people are a little salty about their tech being suborned. So if you're willing to pick up a scientist and take them there, they might help you to actually steal a ship, which is what you would need. Apparently it has some prototype weapon that might actually swing a battle against the battle cruiser.
Sounds right up our alley. I wonder if Josh, how much are the ship guild connected with the Guild of Engineers? Like, what's the connection between those two?
They're separate guilds. They work together sometimes. Like, I mean, if the Guild of Engineers needs Guild of Engineer ships, the Starsmiths are the only ones that are allowed to install like jump drives and stuff like that.
Right.
But they actually go down different tech trees, right? Like the Guild of Engineers, hilariously, they're known for completely different stuff. Like they control all licenses on Urbots, and they develop like cybernetic tech, and they do. They basically mine planets for they gather raw resources and whatnot. The Starsmiths actually deal with partial way signatures.
Okay.
So they have licenses over all of the star drives. You're supposed to get your star drive certified by Starsmiths once a year. They put a thing on it. No one's allowed to pilot a ship without their approval. They're the ones that actually control the gates. Right. So a lot of the ships that you see hovering by the gates, even though they're Legion, they're beholden to the Starsmiths. Right. So they're related, but not like deeply. Why?
Cool. No, I was just wondering if Manda would have anything to do with this. It sounds like
I'm sure that Manda would know people there. I'm sure that some engineers came over to work on prototype AI systems or something that are installed on ships, and similarly, Starsmiths have gone to their place to help design ships that can go into the ship atmosphere or do maintenance on them. There's probably a Starsmiths crew on the engineer base and things like that.
Right.
Or at least the Starsmiths certified crew. Like you can go and study with the Starsmiths, and then they say like you're A-okay to work, so cool.
Yeah. So I think I'm like, sounds like your mother might know something about that. Well, it would be a shame. It would be a shame if those Star Smiths put all that work into that project just to have it sacked for no good reason. I mean, who am I to stop the flow of who are we to stop the flow of invention? And he's being a little sarcastic as she was being a little distant earlier, and then he looks and he's like, "Who's planning on being in the room with you? But you're more than capable of holding your own. If this is good, if this would help you, I'll go now. I don't need to be in confident circumstance.
Don't you want to talk to your crew first?
I'll talk to my crew and I'll make sure they're on board.
Oh, where's the academy professor? she like pokes you a little bit, just like for fun.
I'm like, but they'll be on board.
They didn't strike me as revolutionaries.
There are a lot of things. Okay. Some days they're bandits, some days they're revolutionaries, some days they're just people trying to figure out their way in this big old black void. I think they'll go for it. All and right. I think if that helps you more than me vouching for you in a long and probably boring dinner.
She says, being able to do something about our current set and circumstance will do more for the negotiation than any amount of words.
All right. Well, we'll get on it right now.
Cool. So Samara, I imagine you are making your way back to the ship. I don't think that there's anything fancy going on. Dipper and Scion, what are you folks doing post that revelation pre-break?
Yeah, so I think Scion looks at this tracker, which probably has like the golden crest of House Yej like on its surface. Like my family, not the most subtle.
Okay. I can dig it.
I look at it, I look at the pirate who handed it to me, I look at Dipper, and I and then I look at, Her Excellency, and I say, I think I shouldn't be here.
And Dip is hot like by 2 hots, like sinks at that. Cause it's like I've lost Ula and I've lost Scion. I guess I have spaced out. My family's leaving me.
Yeah, I think like, is there any visible like demonstration of this sentiment on Dipper?
Yeah, I think like Dip is like robot eyes sort of like go that way with like sort of disappointment but understanding. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think Dipper would say like, would you like assistance? Like, would you like me to come with you on this when you go?
I like rub the bridge of my nose and I say, I appreciate it. You're such a good person, Dipper. Unfortunately, I think the P word. Sorry. Unfortunately, I think this is something I have to face alone, and it's probably going to be fine. I kind of skipped bail on them, so to speak, but they're my family. They're gonna be mad at me, and they're gonna send me to school and whatever. But I'll smooth it over. I'll make it right.
They won't hurt me.
Right? Yeah. They won't do anything to me that they haven't already done a dozen times. But if they get here, like I pat the small hand that's on the crook of my elbow. There are bigger problems, and the Legion and Her Royal Excellency perhaps are only a part of the problems that would arise if my house managed to find this particular location. So your great eminence, Celestial Excellency, do you have perhaps a small vessel, one with very, very big engines?
I'm seeing.
Yeah, so the tracker's on the Persephone.
Yeah.
So are you taking the Persephone?
So like my intention here was to take a different, smaller, faster ship that's like just me, I didn't think that I would take the Persephone.
Well, I just say that because if they're tracking the Persephone, they're gonna follow the tracking signal, right?
Right. So I was.
You like
so
call
I-
them and
sorry,
be
I
like,
thought-
I'll meet you at such, X, Y. I just had this thought, like, oh, they're not gonna just stop following the tracking signal.
Right, but like I was going to take the tracker with me.
Oh, I see. All right, never mind. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm leaving and also taking the tracker.
Not just like I'm leaving. Like peace.
Right.
Peace out.
See ya. Good luck.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I
Yeah.
think there's definitely a possibility for us to split up and go off. And Steven, you had talked about like letting Scion kind of not be in the forefront for a bit,
Yep.
but we could also just as you're doing this because after I talked with Rowan, I then met up with Samara and been like, hey, would you be willing to do a job with me? Not knowing at the time what that job was, but like we could be returning right now and be like, we got to get out of here. And like now, and if you want, the four of us could all just go on I think you flying off on your own and the three of us going and doing the job is cool. But if you want to get out of here, I think Persephone is leaving.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, it would be the three of you plus Gunner Sergeant Gunnery McGunnerson.
Okay.
I see. I do remember. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I have thoughts. All right, cool. Yeah, I can dig it. I think that there's like a that's okay. Is this what we want to do? Like, let me ask you as a player, Steven, like, do you want to have like Scion off on a vector and then we'll introduce another character just for this job? Is that cool?
Yeah. Well, and also I think like if Scion's just on his own, he can like interact with his family in a way that he knows how to interact with his family, which is like, I'm the wayward son. Sorry, I've done bad things, but like we can talk about this, whatever.
Bad things. I was on vacation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But if it's like Scion and the entire crew, then it becomes more about like a direct like opposition to the family, which I think we're not well positioned to manage at the moment.
I mean, that's all of Scum and Villainy, right? Like,
yes.
The question is, do you ever fight anything that's smaller than you? And the answer is not usually.
No, not usually. If you do, you end up usually being the bad guy.
Cool. So there is a tense moment where everyone talks for a minute, and then Scion is like, deuces, and we will introduce Gunner McGunnerson here in a moment.
I think before he goes, he turns to Dipper, and he says, I'm gonna come back for this. And then he hands you the artifact.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
Aww. What a sweet exchange. I think Dipper takes it with like much sincerity and nods and says like, I look forward to seeing you again. I don't think it's even like a question of like, I'm not going to see you again. Like I will see you again.
Yeah. And then like, if this is happening with the full crew around, like, y'all showed up, we've had the conversation. I think Scion turns to you and says, sometimes the only way to run is to stop running.
Oh,
and that's when it's like
core
visor down, walks into the ship, whatever. I'm assuming that the ship has been procured. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like a shuttle or a small ship. Yeah, it's fine.
You got your purple space, your purple house yesh.
Purple and gold,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like to think when Scion says that there are the peripheral like sort of robot spider ghosts and stuff like on the sidelines. So Dipper's like it's probably advice I could take to heart in other capacities.
Oh, okay. Cool. So well, Steven, go ahead and come up with are you human or Xeno? Let me just ask.
I was gonna be human because it's the easiest. It's and development time.
Do you know what playbook you're thinking of? Moscow or engineer or like what's? They probably don't have mystics on board the Legion ship. I'm just saying.
Stitch is the only one that we haven't seen in action yet. But I was actually thinking about a mechanic because I think having someone who can like tinker with stuff would be really useful.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Do it.
And I think this is less like a ship mechanic and more like it's almost like it's like a military mechanic, right? It's like, someone who's used to like managing weapons and bombs and guns and stuff like that.
Sounds delightful. Make that happen. All right. Cool.
And I made you a sheet and roll 20, Steven.
I see that. Gunner McGunderson.
Yeah, there you go.
There is a name list in the book in case you need it. Just mentioning that. It even has handles. All right, cool. Sweet. So let me ask the same question that I asked last time, which is, so what's the plan, crew? How do we get out from through the Legion blockade, go in the other direction?
I mean, I think this is do it as fast as possible. So last time we were being skulky, right? Like that was our like I was originally gonna be like, let's gun it. And then you're like, no, Scion was like, no, let's take some dark routes and let's hide. And now that Scion is not there, Scion, did you tell it? Did we just find this out from Dipper? Like when we get on the ship, Dipper?
No, I would definitely have, like, I would have told you. I'd have been like,
Yeah, you said your goodbyes.
Okay,
yeah, hey,
cool.
folks, the best thing I can do for you right now is to get my family off of your tail. And then I also radio Alonda, and I say, hey, Alonda, you said everything in my power to make sure this goes smoothly. Turns out my family is right behind us. So this is me doing everything in my power to make sure it goes smoothly.
Nice.
Don't waste it. And then I punch the engines, flare across the horizon.
Somewhere, somehow, Alonda is stabbing a box of wine, going, I like that boy. No subtlety, though.
Yeah. Our ships are peeling off in different directions.
Yeah.
I say we're gunning it. I think we're.
So Sean, I believe what we're actually doing is making an engagement roll.
Yeah. I like that.
Shall we do the engagement roll mechanic real quick? Hello. Yes, I love you.
Sounds good. Before we do the roll, we should pick a method, a plan. I kind of feel like our plan is transport. Just get there and get back. We know our location. We know our route. I don't think it's. I mean, it might be when we get on the ship, deception or something like that. But I think right now we're talking about how do we get there. I think it's using dark hyperspace lanes that we've got. Do
you want to make a roll and then do an engagement roll, which is fine? Because I feel like getting into the Iota shipyards and stealing a ship is an infiltration plan.
Yeah,
and that feels slightly different from get through the blockade, which may just be one roll if you get a 6.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's
just
check
get
that
through
out.
the blockade.
All right, let's get through the blockade. Don't you have a power that gives you extra something there?
We do. We gain twice. We're using this power twice this session. You gain potency when you scramble or helm to avoid capture or to run a blockade. When you do a delivery job, you get +1d on the engagement roll. We're not doing a delivery job, but yeah, I'll totally take that. So what would be our normal position in effect to
risky standard. I feel like one roll will get you through it. I'll give you a hint. There is a thing called the way line, which is there are 2 gates in the Iota system, and for reasons that nobody understands, there is a permanent sector of space between them that allows ships to travel faster than normal. It's like drifting in Mario Kart. So you can hook onto that to try and gain extra speed, because remember that blockades are not mobile, right? Like they're stationary with like weapons trained in the direction that you don't want to do it. So if you want to run the blockade, you can hook onto that and just like gun it.
I love it. Is there any danger associated with getting on that way line? Is it?
I mean, it's risky. It's not that dangerous.
Yeah. Okay. I just wondering if this is devil's bargain territory. If this is like, well, if you want to do that.
I'm always happy to listen for devil's bargains, but pushes and gambits and stuff are in play here. It's a standard roll.
Yeah. I don't have a good one right now, so I'd throw it, but I'd be searching. All right, so risky standard, because we have getaway, it makes it risky great. Or we get potency, so I assume that.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I feel like maybe you could go for controlled standard, so that if things go risky, you get a second roll.
Yeah, I think I'd like to do that. Yeah,
that sounds good. Because I can't think of great effect other than maybe like they don't register your ship or something. Like maybe that's great.
Well, the only thing that would matter to me is that I want to get there and get back as soon as possible so that we can be there for an altercation if it happens. So if speed is an element, then I would definitely take the great effect to
All
get
right,
there
let's do it.
faster.
Risky great, extra juice.
Excellent.
More zoom zoom.
More zoom zoom.
More zoom zoom.
Sean, do you want an assist?
I would love an assist. How are you going to help out?
I think that Samara has spent some time going through blockades before in her life. And maybe gives you like some special maneuver or something, which I can't think of personally.
Yeah, but you can be on comms and like helping
Yeah.
Sean by giving readouts or like adjust by 5 degrees or whatever.
I love it. And I totally clicked the wrong thing, but it's fine because I rolled the right amount of dice, so I'm going to take it. I clicked prowess instead of helm and just clicked on the wrong thing. But yes, thanks to you, we got that 6 because it would have been...
What was it BP said? Shave whiskers, roll sixers.
Yes, that's it.
Good job.
And that's going to get us a gambit.
Yeah. Toss the gambit on the pile. Yeah. So I feel like that sounds great. That happens exactly like that. I think there's like the moment where you hook into the way line, you like dodge a couple of rocks that are in your path, and you catch it, and you come spitting out like a rainbow, haze, and the other ships are expecting bigger ships, so a tiny ship like that doesn't really. Right. They're like 5 people get out, whatever. And yeah, they don't even flag you, and you're like jetting, right? And so like you follow the way line as much as you can, and then when you separate off, you're like translating into real space, bleeding off like rainbows as you're coming out of hyperspace. Cutting light on the edge of dimensions like you do. Like you do. Cool. So I think that there's this. The pickup of the scientist is not the difficult portion.
Right.
It was trying to jet past Iota and into like the next ringside where they're like research bases or whatever.
Right. And where they're not looking for us, where they're not like
yeah.
Not,
and there's no blockade here, right? Like they're trying to hem in the Lost Legion. They're not looking to like affect regular traffic or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you come out and there's this base and it looks a little shady because it's like in an asteroid field and it's not obvious. And you're like, clearly there might be some questions of legality here. But as you approach it, they're pretty high tech. They're like transmitting stuff that shows up on your screen, which is unusual. Like usually only like guild stuff does that. And as you like approach and like land in their landing bay, there's not going to be any problems. Your pickup is going to go without a hitch here because this is not the difficult part, right? Like this is grab scientist, take scientists to shipyards, infiltrate shipyards, board ship that you're not supposed to board, get ship out, right? Like that's the job. And this is not the hard part, right? And so so there's this moment where you land, and fans that have been watching the show for a little while may recognize the coloration. A lot of the stuff here has this purple and this like yellowish green, almost like neon plexiglass kind of look to it. And we've seen this before at least once. And as a matter of fact, when you land, you're all itchy to get going, and you see this like woman with a little briefcase looking thing walking up to your ship, and she is wearing like the spacesuit in that coloration with a visor with that like yellow plexiglass and everything.
Yeah.
And she introduces herself. She has she's actually named in the book. 1 second. I think it's Raquel. So like Raquel like introduces herself and like shakes your hand. She's very polite. She's eager. She's like, oh yes, you do not know what it's like to spend years of your life developing certain things, and then only to have this Tharsmiths be like, we're going to mothball the project and also you're fired. It is an awful feeling. It is like your child being, and like she's walking on board with you, you folks are like raising stuff, getting ready to fly, and she goes, haha, the Urbot that thinks it has a name. It's clearly the woman that talked to you previously.
I was gonna say I wrote this name down.
The chassis.
The chassis.
Yeah.
She seems positively delighted to be here, even though you're about to go and do a pretty terrifying job.
I think Whisper was going to like respond to her, but then when she like clearly gets sidetracked, he just kind of like mumbles to himself. He's like, "Oh, I know very well how it takes to, what it means to spend years and years of your life and have it all washed away. Like that I understand well, but like, he doesn't need to tell her anymore because she's like fascinated with the Urbot now. So he just sort of mumbles it to himself.
Yeah. So yeah, she definitely because we haven't seen her without the helmet before, I don't think. But yeah, she like touches something and the helmet does one of those like cool sci-fi like chonk chonk chonk, like opens itself up and like goes around her neck kind of thing. But the thing that's surprising that everyone's like, whoa, is she has like a pile of hair in a ponytail that just like explodes out and falls down, and it's like dyed some bright green. And so she's just like, Urbot, and definitely is like immediately distracted.
This is Entrapta. I understand.
Yeah, actually, it's not a bad touchstone. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So do we want to make an engagement roll? She's like, oh yes, Starsmith's Guild, here, I have some plans. And her plans are surprisingly detailed. It's almost like she's very distractible, but her memory is so good that like, or her faction is extremely rich and powerful. They are. So yeah, she pulls out like actual plans and like codes and things like that you're just like,
that she's committing like a major crime. Is she totally down with that? Like, oh yeah, I was with the Starsmiths Guild, but forget it. If they say where my project's being mothballed, I'm chasing the science. Like does she get like the illegality of what we're doing, or does she not even know it?
Do you even try to talk to her about legality?
I mean, I it's more I want to get a read of her if she's like, if she's like down with the Starsmiths Guild. I don't.
There's okay. So clearly, like you're just like, so you understand what we're doing. And she's like, yes, we are recovering my ship. And like she definitely has like that is my child. They have taken my child from me, and they are just wrong. Right. She's not like the hegemony is evil and there are good ethical reasons to do this. She's just like, fuck ethics, that's mine. Get out of my way.
She's entrapped.
As long as she's willing to use that ship to help us later, I am okay with. Like, I just didn't want to make sure she was like, I'm gonna get it and then return it to the Smart Sis Guild. But cool, excellent.
Does anybody here have? Okay, we'll flash back to this moment later on. But she talks about the ship a little bit. She uses a lot of very big technical terms, and like talks about like, she's like, oh yes, blah 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 blah, vacuum drive, Einstein-Rosen bridges. Like she just has like shit tons of terms that come out, and she's like, we got to be very careful. It's got to start up very 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 cautiously. You have to be like the startup's the most difficult part because it doesn't use an engine like a standard ship does, and like she's talking about it, and you get the sense you're like, is this ship dangerous? She's like, oh, very dangerous, but only if you use it incorrectly. Like she's like, it'll be totally fine. So don't get a shot. Like,
love it.
Actually, what she says, like if anybody asks her about the ship being dangerous, she's like, do you know what's dangerous? Flying in a tin can through space. Vacuum is extremely hostile to all life. Everything we do is dangerous. This ship is no more dangerous than, okay, it's pretty dangerous, but like, yeah.
Dig it. I think she's got the right crew, right? Like we're
great. So do we want to make an engagement roll? She provides you with the point of entry. She's like, great. So here's the plan. We're going to use one of the outer docking bays. They actually do maintenance on sections. I know the particular rotations. We're going to enter through a section that's depowered. She, like, if you're like, hey, I'm an engineer. She's like, oh, delightful. You can do the hacking unless you want me to.
Yeah, I say we do the engagement role. I did the last one.
More of a scientist, less of an engineer. Scientist. So yeah. Cool. Who wants to do the engagement role?
Just already shaking. All right. Jen, you wanna roll some bones? No?
I'm trying to find some screen. I've got I've got roll 20.
I mean, I will if you want me to, Sean. I don't care.
Yeah, just I don't know.
So this is definitely a daring and bold plan.
Is there an engagement thing on the ship to roll, or do I just make it a fortune roll?
You just make it a fortune roll.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a fortune roll.
And
Help me out here.
Is it
has provided us with
unnecessarily
detail.
Yes.
Does the detail hit them where they're weakest?
Yes.
Is it unnecessarily complicated?
No. Unnecessarily complicated is Harper's way of saying, okay, did the crew just spend like 3 days doing legwork to come up with a plan that has 40 contingencies? And if like the answer is no, if you're just like, I don't know, we listened to this lady with giant green hair and we're like, yeah, okay, that doesn't sound very complicated.
Yep. Do they is the target strongest against this approach? Do they have particular defenses?
They do not.
Cool.
Are they higher tier? Oh yes.
Yeah.
All right, we're down to 3.
Down to 3.
All right, 3 dice. Not bad.
Alrighty.
It's pretty good engage.
Pretty good engage.
There's no bad engagement rolls.
There are no bad engagement rolls.
Got a 4.
Hey.
All right.
Awesome. So I think that there is like a moment where you folks are gonna land and attach your ship in like the shadow of this like big skin whatever, and Scion, or you're not Scion anymore, you're Gunnar McGunnerson. I don't know what your name is.
Well, my name is Zokar Zan. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, that's such a good name. That's a very good name. So Zokar Zan, you plug in your hacking rig. You did say you were a mechanic, right?
I am a mechanic. I don't have hack though. I have rig.
I have hack.
Dipper, do you want to hack the door, or
really
do you
my
folks
thing.
want to rig it open? It's fine.
I
Both-
can
both
hack
are
the door
acceptable.
with my fine ship disrepair tools.
You come with a hacking rig on mechanics do, I believe.
I do have a fine hacking rig. It's true. Yeah.
But I mean, you can like pop open and like manually connect whatever. Like this is a door that can be solved either way. It's not mandated. I just assumed. It's my bad.
I would absolutely like step up and be like, "Hey y'all, I think I can handle this one." And like sweep a hand across like my pomaded back, slicked back hair, like straighten out my very thin mustache, step forwards, pull open my bag, and just like pull out like a blowtorch.
So good. So yeah, I think this is an engagement roll on a 45. You're going to end up in a risky situation. I think that you cut open the door and you cross some wires and the door cycles open and there is some like low-level Starsmith tech on the other side that goes, hello, like confused, because remember they maintenance the section, so like they turn off the power so that people can go out and repair stuff. And yeah, there's just like someone in like an orange set of like an orange jumpsuit with a little like blue cap on and like the equivalent of a space checklist that's just like, hello.
I stand up, I step forwards, I say, wow, it looks like you got a problem with that door. You should really fix that. And then I punch him in the face.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna make an alarm clock now, and we should roll some some skirmish. Yeah, let's do it.
I was gonna say we have plenty of stun weapons as bounty hunters. We're very well equipped to knocking people out.
Not a problem.
So,
all right.
I will push myself for an extra die here. Is this risky, of course, and then standard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want any help with this? Nope.
Oh, I heard dicey table.
Oh, I
Heard a little
forgot
blip.
to add a second die. Let's roll 1d6 and see if I crit this. Hey!
Dang.
I'm
You
comfortable
seem to
with
have
this
a
entry
problem.
for this character.
1, out of gambit, because that was risky. 2, I think there's just like a moment where you're like, you sure have a problem with that door. Pop, and as soon as like your fist comes back, you're now dressed in the orange jumpsuit and like pulling another door open, and like the rest of you are walking through.
We're charging in like bandits.
Wow, that's amazing. So I was not prepared for this. Let me look at my job stuff. 1 sec.
First
Players roll
challenge.
great.
Overcome.
What challenge? Cool. So there are two major things that need to be done here. The first, you folks need to go through the base, which has a lot of personnel. Now, it's not impossible to disguise yourself in some jumpsuits and try to sway your way through. It's pretty controlled, actually. So you have to get to the ship, and then you have to like obviously activate the ship without necessarily getting into trouble with that. So that's your first challenge. The second challenge is that this is a mothball project, which means the ship has the equivalent of like docking clamps, right? So there are some physical restraints that are in the hangar bay where the ship is, but there's also like you got to override the doors and open them. So someone has to go to a terminal that actually has these controls, which is not on the ship itself, and override the docking controls, open the big docking bay doors so that the ship can get out. So those are the two main objectives. And then you have two options. You either have the pilot like a devil and not get shot option of GTFOing, or if someone's particularly brazen or bold, they might be trying to sabotage their scanners and or systems for detecting ships so that they do not see you running the F away. How do you folks want to divide up on this? The scientist is like, I am clearly going to my baby. There's no questions there.
She's going to the ship. She's going to ship team.
I volunteer to be a distraction. I am kind of interested in the idea of pretending to be some sort of celebrity being shown around the base. Right?
Okay.
And I think I could disguise myself as a celebrity. I think I have those skills.
Yeah.
You can, but celebrities usually show up with very large ships and fanfare. So I'm looking forward to your backstory as to why you're here solo, appearing in a corridor.
Yeah, I got it. You're planning for a new acting role, and you want to like not be too conspicuous.
It's doable. It's not impossible. It's just sometimes when I don't see the obvious answer, I go, tell me a story, and if your story is good, it'll be controlled.
Nice.
So yeah.
Hey,
Awesome.
you look like someone who needs a handler. Every good celebrity needs a handler, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And is the intent with this is your intent with this to get us to the ship, or is the intent to get rid of the docking bay, or is it to create a distraction for the rest of us trying to do those two things?
Originally, my intent was to create a distraction to give you guys a little bit less pressure
A
and
setup.
more time. Yes.
Yeah.
If you're wanting me to go the other way, I'm totally open to that as well.
So
because
if
I could totally be like, oh, I need to see this one ship.
If I go with you, Samara, then you can use your celebrity hood to get us into the position where I can disable the docking clamps.
Okay.
And I can just like peel away as you go like on the continuing tour. And then I'm just like disable the docking clamps. And then Lauren and Sean, Dipper and Whisper can go to the ship with the scientist and like, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Super cool.
Right.
Dipper, what frame are you in right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I was thinking like maybe light, because that has some like hacking plus whip and stuff going on, and it's a bit less conspicuous than like the gorilla like frame.
Yeah, you're not toting missiles and stuff. Yeah.
So I think maybe the light frame.
All right. Plus the light frame can occasionally go invisible, which is really great for a stealth job.
Heck
Yep.
yeah.
All right, cool. That sounds good. So which you know what? I just gotta know, Jen. I gotta know how this goes. So what's the story here with the like? How are you making your appearance, right?
So I've disguised myself as a real person, right? Like a real actress.
Sure. You're a hollow star. That sounds great.
Yeah, and people who follow that sort of thing, which these scientists aren't, but some of the guards might be. Would know that like I'm up for this big role and blah 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 and like.
So do you want to be like a big actress, or do you want to be like I mean, you could just be like a newscaster doing a report too. That's a thing, because the HNN does exist in this system, which is the hegemonic news network.
The
reason I mentioned that is I believe that the HNN reporter might be a contact for your crew. You may want to check that.
Stacy Weathers, ace reporter. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. She can provide credentials and backup.
Yes, I totally would love to do that.
Okay, cool. Yes, the intrepid reporter, Stacy Weathers. Cool. So yeah, you know, you folks, like she knows your crew, she knows your ship, she owes you some favors, you've tossed some stories her way, and you're like, hey, I need to have a scoop and appropriate press credentials for this. And so she'll give you she'll send you appropriate key code press credentials, which you can use as an item or whatever.
So weird to have real credentials for me.
What are these? How do these work?
Cool. So do you folks just like walk up to the front desk and you're like, hi, my name is, I'm here to, you'll see my credentials here.
I have an appointment with XYZ person to interview them for the special I'm doing.
Amazing. All right, cool. So I believe this is a hell of a lot of lying, and so this is what we call the sways.
Yes.
All right, cool. Does that sound right? Like, I'm just okay. Cool.
Sure.
I'm 100% in the background of this scene, like yelling at people to give proper respect to. Do we know this holovid actor's name, Jen?
No, I'm doing Stacey Weathers.
Oh, okay, right.
Oh, you're actually Stacey Weathersing. She sends you her actual credentials.
Her
I love
own credentials. Yeah.
Blonde hair. Stacey Weathers, ace reporter. Here with H&N.
Steven, are you carrying like tools that have been rigged to look like a camera?
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Yes.
Nice.
I've got my heavy ship tools, and so like I think I just have like a big bag, and I've just like taken like duct tape and taped the word camera on the bag.
Nice.
Perfect. Yeah. Cool. So is that an assist I'm hearing, Steven?
Yes.
I'm just asking.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm
cool.
like, hey,
so
Stacey Weathers requires her coffee in this exact way.
127 degrees precisely.
This was on her rider. What are you doing? Get out of here. Come on.
Is this risky standard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this feels pretty.
We got plenty of gambits if you want to spend one.
I would love to spend a gambit on a risky standard from a scoundrel. Yes, I would.
Scoundrel.
All right, here we go. I got 4.
Cool. So your setup works, but you're in danger.
Yep.
So I think they're just like, the person at the desk doesn't know Stacey Weathers from Stevie McQueen. So they just look at you and they're just like, I wasn't aware you're here. She says, well, I guess, yeah, absolutely. You can go and see the station manager. I know that they and Stacey Weathers are good friends. So obviously, they'll help you out here. So right this way. So what I'm going to say is that is going to count as a setup action for the other two. They're going to be distracted. People are going to be pulled off to like go and clean up rooms and prep quarters or whatever because they didn't know that it was happening. But small problem. Manager knows Stacey Weathers actually, and your disguise is good enough to fool anyone who hasn't like your disguise is good. Your physical features may actually pass, but like your knowledge of Stacey Weathers' life and their friendship may not.
Can I do either a resist or like a flashback to have had like a conversation with Stacey Weathers and her be like, oh, I know this person on this station?
A good resist might be, oh, don't worry about, talking to the manager. I have to inspect these 4 locations before I talk to them anyway. Like, don't bother them right now. Let me. Yeah, absolutely. I think you can do a resistance roll. This is a resolve resist, obviously, because it's social.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. No bonus dice. So cost me 2 stress.
2 stress. Yep. Feels pretty good.
Yep.
So yeah.
Stressful. Yep.
A little stressful. That's fine.
All right. So meanwhile, Dipper, Whisper, and Raquel are all trying to get on the ship. Lauren, are you thinking skulk? Are you feeling like we're sneaking on? Are you thinking? Are you thinking scramble? Are we hauling butt to try and get there without people noticing us? Or people
we're like hey, crawling butt through like ductwork and whatnot.
Oh, that's true. We could be.
We could totally do that. Yeah. I'm definitely like. Good thing I took the light frame. I mean, yeah, I could see a skulking there for.
Yeah, I'm terrible at either one, so I don't.
I think I got a dot in each, so it's probably good either way.
Okay.
So I feel like it's controlled at this point, right? Like skulking around would have been risky normally, but I feel like or scrambling even.
Yeah.
I feel like you're like, yeah, it's controlled
Okay.
standard. And I'm taking into account position here because it would have been risky normally, but the setup makes it controlled. Does that sound fair?
Makes total sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Versus risky, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you are you feeling up for leading this?
Yeah, I can totally lead this. Yeah, for
okay.
sure. I gotta protect my space dad. You're the only one left on the crew that I haven't bond with.
Yeah.
I'll totally lead it. Yeah.
Okay. So Whisperer will tell you in advance he apologizes for any his old bones creaking, and let's get through those ducks. I like the idea.
It's Whisper. I've read your physical credentials. I'm the doctor on this ship. I know that you're fine.
All right,
you're in prime physical form.
We will see. I can't assist you because we're in the middle of a group action. So yeah, I just have to roll.
There's Gambit, right?
Yeah. You should take the Gambit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I'll take the Gambit. It's controlled standard, right?
Yep.
Cool. Oh, I got double ones.
Oh.
I got this. It's gonna be fine.
All right. Well, failing uncontrolled isn't the end of the world. Oh, I got a 4.
Nice.
Not bad.
On 0 dice, I got a 4. So
I think
you only
this
take 1 stress from yourself, and yeah.
Which I think is very appropriately different. Like, I've got you, Space Dad, and then it's like, oh no, I don't got this.
Okay, this is not.
Yeah, I think there's I think you folks actually make it to you make it through most of the base, right? Like there's like a lot of like corridors, looking around corridors, and the two of you like giving each other signs and everything. And there's probably a moment where like Dipper's like in front, and as like a crowd of engineers are running to go see Stacey Weathers, ace reporter, and then Dipper's like invisible and chameleon suited. That's where like the stress is coming from.
Yeah.
Nice. But as you kind of approach the like shut down secret project sector, there's like the complication, like where it gets risky is there are actually a couple of very bored looking guards, and also there are doors that are sealed that say security and like restricted access / area, like special credentials needed or something. That's a complication of introducing.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
Okay.
I'm going to just take them out like with stealth and violence, if that sounds good to you, Sean.
Stealth and violence sounds fine. Sounds like an appropriate approach. I was also thinking that like we could resist this in so much as like obviously these people are not super on guard, like they're not expecting anybody, and we could time something with Samara where like some announcement gets made of like everybody prepare for Stacey Weathers to come, and then like right as they're not looking, that's sort of when we dash through.
Cool.
And just resist with the prowess resist on timing. If that if they've been told that like she's going to come to it, so they're going to open up the doors anyway and get ready for her.
That sounds sensible.
Strash, is that a viable resist?
I think that there's definitely a potential for Stacey Weathers to come through the section and pull some guards away. I don't think that they're going to let her into the Black Ops project section. It doesn't matter how.
Right.
She's like, but I'm pressed. They're like, yeah, it's like, sorry, Black Ops.
Right. Awesome. Then I think,
BT Dubs, Raquel giggles every time she says the word black in Black Ops. You'll understand why eventually, I'm sure. But right now, you're like, she's like, Black Ops.
All right. Yeah.
Ship is going to be rainbow colored.
So we see them. And we hear Stacey, maybe we hear her name on the broadcast, and we're like, cool, they're looking away, but the doors are still locked. We're like, crap, that's not gonna help. And Whisper looks back and is like, yeah, if you could I think it's clobbering time. And he's
what
happy
time is it, Ben Grimm?
And we have all sorts of stun weapons. So how many guards are there, Strash?
2.
2? Perfect.
Yeah. They're in armor and they're just like, they're having like bored guard chats.
Yeah.
Where there's like one guy who's like, seems like the price of coffee is going up this week, and the other guy like has a 20-minute soliloquy about the nature of the hegemony and the distribution of goods around the sector.
Nice.
And then
Yeah, I think we should do like the equivalent of get help. I wanna walk in with you and be like we get there and be like, because I'm wearing one of these jumpsuits as well that we've gathered, and I'm like, somebody help me with this Urbot, it's malfunctioning. I can't get it to control. Somebody I can't get my controls on it. Like, and as we walk up, and it's
yeah,
Well,
that sounds totally fine.
is that cool with you?
Yeah. I rather thought was just to sort of like burn some stress into stealth and then like invisibly go up on them and stun them, kind of thing.
Either one is super cool.
So I think what happens is Sean goes, we should do get help, and the question is, are you visible next to him or not?
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, I kind of feel like I'm playing into reckless and haunted here by the time, Whisper turns to say that, like, Dip is gone.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think like I think for the audience, like we see Dipper's eyes turn like that violet purple, like just before they phase.
Scary. Okay.
So I'll burn 2 stress for turning invisible.
Amazing. So yeah, I think there's a sweet spot just between the third and the fourth. Like the whispers in your ear about like they're like that, you know, they talk about how these organics are some particular subtype of servitor caste, and like it talks about their weak points, but they're all like killing weak points. None of them are like, you should incapacitate them with gentle strokes. It's like, no. There's a sweet spot like between the third and the fourth vertebrae. You need sharp objects.
I think I'd like to roll and then see if I kill them or not, because I kind of feel like that'd be an interesting consequence for it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll just roll scrap.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That's my position.
Well, for scrap it would be risky. Risky standard.
Is it risky even though she's invisible, or they're invisible?
That's not the risk. The risk is going to be like, if they die, I'm going to raise the alarm clock by 2 ticks instead of 1.
Right.
It's unlikely the Dipper will take harm as a consequence.
Yeah.
Just emotionally.
Just emotional. Yeah, I think Whisper is definitely like, what the, like it. Whisper's freaked out.
Oh, poor Whisper.
It's all good.
I'll just go ahead and roll. I got a 6 in there.
Nice.
Nailed it.
So
you should roll one more die because you're a wrecking crew.
Yeah, totally right. Let's see if I crit too.
You're going up invisible and punch them.
Not quite.
No crits. So my question is, do you kill them, or do you just knock them out?
Well, I think there's like this really sort of scary, like sort of, you know, when Frodo puts on the ring in Lord of the Rings and like time and space get weird as hell, and like a Dipper is hearing those voices, and I think it's kind of resist them, and it's very like whispery, esoteric, void way stuff going on. And then I think like Dipper's eyes internally are sort of flicking between blue and purple as like they're heading towards these people. Yeah. And then there's a moment where Dipper feels this compulsion to like go for the vibroblade, and I think the vibroblade also is flickering purple and blue. And then I think Dipper goes for like the I've got fine martial arts style. So I think instead like Dipper manages to get a hold of their hands, and they just like sort of, I don't know, like a Vulcan nerve pinch like the 2 guards, and they like crumple.
So yeah, I think you the first guard goes down as like your stealth field shimmers, and the second one is down before you're like fully decloaked. Sean, do you react at all?
Yeah, I think I'm like, you know, I was like, what the hell? And then when I see it, I'm just like, I think Whisper like stands up like to jump in to help, and it's like, oh you okay? Oh yeah. You got this. Like doesn't need anything. Yeah, he's like,
Raquel behind you, because she's obviously coming with you to the ship, just goes, oh, it has no programming against violence against humans. She pushes up her glasses and goes, fascinating.
yeah.
And I think Dipper plays it off like nothing happened, and it's like, is it like, you know, it's done, like we can keep going, and this is very
All right, okay, Raquel, this is you. Get us through the story. You got the hack. You got the codes, etc. This is the Black Ops space.
Awesome. I'm just going to do a quick roll for her, which is when we reveal how many dice exactly this faction has.
Hey!
Oh my. And that's like actually it's pretty funny. I think she plugs it in. She has like the coolest hacking rig, like holographics pop up. She's got this thing on her arm. Like it looks like she is 100% in control, right? Like firewalls are crumbling, the screen is starting to like shimmer, and then it stops. And you hear the administrator's voice say, "Hello, Raquel. I always expected you to return here." And she goes, "Oh no." I think we're gonna have to cut the episode there.
Oh, amazing.
I didn't do it. I gave her 4 dice. It is so good. 1, 3, 2, 3. What did I roll? It was bad. It was all bad days.
All bad days. It was
All bad
good.
days. I'm sorry. I swear I didn't try to cheese you folks. I gave her a ton of dice.
That's a lot of dice. That's the way it works.
We'll cut through that door. We'll figure out a way. It's all good.
Oh no.
And we just got another gambit from that last Dipper. So we're living large on gambits. Nice. That was awesome.
All right. So that's the session, folks. Let's do XPs. Sean, do XP first.
All right, hold on. Let me flip this thing back up. Actually, Jen, you do it because I have your character sheet up.
Okay. You address a tough challenge with charm or audacity. I did that twice. I did that with Stacey Weathers, and I did that with delaying at the start of the game to give my friend time to get into a weird spider void thing.
Yeah, you did.
So I'm going to take 2 for that. You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I expressed the heck out of my background. I'm a pirate through and through.
Legit. I also love that you were a captain briefly.
Yes.
Which is BT Dub, something that your ex kept poking at you about.
He did. Yeah. And then I don't think that I struggle with issues from my vice or trauma during this session. I do have a trauma, but it's cold. And I don't think we saw that.
And we didn't see gambling. We did see, well, you saw you gambling, but you weren't struggling with it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Next card sheet I happen to have up is me. So we'll do Whisper. Did I adjust a tough challenge with deception or influence? I think the first challenge, buying us some time to dock and do the switcheroo on comms, was using influence. I don't think I did it other than that, unless anyone else is remembering a thing. I don't think I had a lot of. I was planning on being there for the dinner to help in that regard, but we went a different way.
Sometimes you get 1 XP. That's okay, Sean.
You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. Yes, I think I did a lot of that. I think we saw Whisper's background, certainly in Lost Legion, and his beliefs about helping them out and getting a crew to join. Especially when Rowan was like, "Hey, can you do this job?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can do it." And she's like, "Don't you need to check with your crew first?" I was already confident that we were going to do it. And I struggle with issues to revise your traumas. I do struggle with my obligation. It was a major driver for this game, and it also was hard to decide what to do because of it. Do I stay with them, or do I go on this other adventure? I'm gonna take 1 for that. I didn't suffer from my trauma. It was not paranoid. Paranoid didn't come up, so maybe it should have. But that's it. So I'm taking 4. Dipper.
This mute button. Okay, so I did address 1 talent challenge with violence, so I'll take an experience point for that. Express beliefs, drives, heritage, background. I think there was some cute stuff with there about family and like so I'm trying to figure out what else did I express.
There's also connection with crew folk.
Yeah. Talking about people leaving you and also dealing with your ghosts both feel like backgrounds.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Holding on to Whisper because he's the only one of the original crew. I love that.
It's very sweet. Yeah, I'll take Sue for that. And then I think struggling with issues from visor trauma, I think that's the two as well for leaning into the violent stabby purple eye thing. And then also yeah.
Being
I feel
haunted
like
by-
dealing with some of your hauntings definitely came up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I think that last one was totally reckless. Like we easily had a better die pool and like could have had more control if the two of us were jumping on it. And you're like, nope, I got this. I think that was
Nice. Cool. That's me.
all right. And last but not least, Zokar Zahn, our new.
Oh, we should do for Scion.
You want to do Zion instead? Okay.
I don't think Sokar Zion actually did anything on his sheet. I checked.
No. Good point. Okay, let's do
So
Zion.
so let me do Scion. So I do feel like I am currently addressing a tough challenge with Wisdom or the Way in terms of like the best thing you can do. Sometimes the best way to run is to stop running, right?
Yeah.
So I'll take one for that.
I think that maybe
definitely-
the first time you got an XP for Wisdom. You got
Yep.
lots of times for the Way, but I don't think you got it for Wisdom.
Exactly. I think I also have been expressing my beliefs, Dride's heritage or background.
Oh yeah. Your
You don't
interaction with
say.
remnants was great.
Yes. And I don't think I struggled with issues from my visor traumas in that session. So I think that's it. I got 3 XP for there. And that pushes me over on the playbook advancement. So I'm probably going to grab side dancing as a way to deal with my family.
Nice. Learning new tricks on the fly.
I also grabbed center, which is you can meditate as advice, and
Nice.
overindulging might give you dark visions.
Cool.
Love it. Okay. And for Persephone, did we execute a successful extraction operation or capture a bounty? No, we didn't. We delivered someone. We smuggled, but that's not our playbook, and we have not extracted yet. So we're on our way there. Did we condemn challengers above our turn station? I think we did that
Yeah, too.
a lot.
Easily.
I think that's 2, which gives us an advance and then wraps around. So we need to pick an advance again. Do we bolster our crew's reputation or develop our new one? Our reputation is unpredictable and hard. I think unpredictable makes a lot of sense. We showed up to the Lost Legion with Queen Alondra, leader of the Maelstrom, to be like, hey, why don't you two who don't have anything to do with each other, like make a deal? And
We out.
yeah. Right. And we'll go steal a ship for you.
Burb ship.
Yeah. What do folks think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that a oneser? Is that a twoser? I feel very strongly about 1. I could go either way with 2.
I think it's only 1.
I think we made an impression on the Lost Legion, but that's probably it. So
Yeah.
that feels like 1 to me. Cool. And do we express our goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew? I don't know that we can play a game with this where we don't.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked all about what we care about. Samara talked about what she cared about. Differ talked about what they cared about.
Yep.
Everybody did.
This group is just real good at doing that.
Yeah. All right, that is XPs. So we need to pick another ship advance. We'll do that offline. And yeah, zipped through that.
All right, let's do outros.
Yeah. Hey everybody, I'm Sean. I am the freshly not bearded Sean. This is going to be amazing for me. My face looks very different to me even. I use he him pronouns. You can find me everywhere at Sean Nittner on the internets. I just started playing again a game of Judd, Burning Wheel, the Shoeless Peasant, which is a blast. So we'll be doing that again Friday after next, and then this. So lots of gaming every other week for me. Yeah, that's my story right now. How about you, Lauren?
Yes, I've been Lauren. I use Cheetah. I'm at the Stray Kiwi on Twitter and thestray.com if you want to learn more about my design stuff and all that jazz. Gosh, what a fun session. I'm just trying to like get over all the emotions and feelings, like stuff that went on with that for the last 3 hours. But if you would like to see Strash and I be a team of Necromancer and the Thief escaping depression and learning about cool ghost stuff and feelings and friendship. So yeah, it's more feels. I think in a fortnight we're picking that up again with Judd and another mystery guest, so that'll be fun. How about you, Stephen?
Hey everybody, I'm Steven, aka on the internet, Silent Osiris. Theo is 0. Yeah, not a whole lot going on. The usual shows rolling around. Another episode of the Sunfall Cycle on Wednesday. So hope I'll see y'all then. I had another session of Forged in the Marches last night. That was very fun. We got to see some terrifying people and entities who had been transformed into entirely made out of thorns. So that was killer. And yeah, I think that's about it for me. Jen, how about you? The huge.
I'm Jen Martin. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at 10penjen. Yeah, my big plug is that you can now buy Fiasco on Roll20 thanks to me, and I'm very excited about it. And I want everyone to play Fiasco and then tell me about how it went. That would be great. Strash, what about you?
Hey, I'm Strash, he, him. I'm one of the regular streamers here. You can find me at StrashA on the Twitters. Lauren already mentioned that Lauren, me, and Jed are doing The Thief and the Necromancer every other Saturday. We may have one, we may have more special guests depending on the week for because like they're volunteers. We use chat a lot in that game as like kind of an additional volunteer. So please join us. Please check it out. We'd love to have more input. I know Judd post game was talking about how he'd love to have like more random stuff that helps him generate cities and things like that. So so that's definitely a thing. Yeah, that's most of what I got. I'm working on some stuff, but I think for right now they're secret projects, so maybe we'll talk about them another time. So cool, that's it for me.
Sounds good. We'll see you all in a little while.